In a dramatic turn of events in Syria's long-running civil war, insurgents stormed the capital Damascus and have captured the city. Russian Foreign Ministry has said that President Assad has decided to leave the presidential post and left the country, giving instructions to transfer power peacefully. Thousands of residents have fled amid the sudden escalation in violence. For years, the war had been at a standstill until rebel forces launched a major shock offensive just 2 weeks ago. In a matter of days, rebels captured Hama and launched a sweeping operation across northern Syria. Their biggest victory so far, seizing Aleppo, Syria's second largest city, just last week. The rapid advances have caught many by surprise, reigniting focus on a conflict that began in 2011 as a pro-democracy uprising. Over 5 lakh people have been killed and some 12 million displaced since the war began. The war appeared to have stalled as Assad regained much of the country in recent years with help from Russia and Iran, but parts of northern and eastern Syria remain under US-backed Kurdish control. This offensive, however, is being led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, a group distancing itself from its roots as an al-Qaeda affiliate, claiming to focus on governance and military strategy in opposition-held territories. With Assad's supporters, Iran, Russia, and Hezbollah distracted by other conflicts, the rebel forces are thought to have seized the chance to resume their battle against his army. As the Assad regime crumbles, the future of Syria remains uncertain. The swift rebel gains have shifted the war's dynamics, but the question remains: what's next in this decade-long conflict, or is this an endgame in Syria? Samia Afsar, NDTV World.
See, India was one of the very few countries which was assisting Syria, not just through medical aid, but providing scholarships to students there, and has always advocated for a peace resolution in Syria. And even in past, in 2021, during one of the UNSC speech, the Indian envoy there had mentioned that we should lift sanctions on Syria during the peak of COVID. Now, as far as Indians are concerned, there are around 19 civilians there, and there are many more who are working with international agencies like UN and all, and that is why the Indian External Affairs Ministry as well as the embassy there in Damascus has issued this advisory that our embassy is working there, is operational there, and people can get in touch with them. But an earlier advisory had also suggested that you should leave by the earliest. Now, getting back to the situation in Syria right now, it's very fluid, not just because the Assad regime has fallen, but there are areas in Syria, regions in Syria, which is being controlled by different rebel groups who have conflict among each other. And also, Israel has jumped into this conflict by yet occupying another part of Syria near the border of Israel and Syria. Israeli army has got into the Mount Hermon side of Syria and they have occupied it. And there are also reports that Israel has been targeting their consulate, their foreign office, as well as other research centers, which was believed to be the centers where Iran and Syria were working on nuclear weapons, as per the Israeli media reports. So the situation right now is very fluid, and major international players and stakeholders in Middle East, as well as countries like US, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and all are keeping a close watch to see that whether the transition from Assad to a new regime, how much smooth it will be, and the rebel group HTS, led by Mr. Jolani, who was also a designated terrorist by US in the past, whether he will change his way, as he's claiming that he will allow the minorities to flourish, there will be no persecution. Because last time when the rebel happened back in 2011, and then these groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS were very flourishing there in that region, they were persecuting the minorities as well. But this will have to be seen, that who takes the charge in Syria and what other international players, whether they continue the sanction against Syria or not, and who will start the diplomatic talks and channels with the new regime over there.
All right, Mohammad Ghazali, thank you very much for getting us all the latest as far as the situation is concerned in Syria. Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, he addressed the Manama Dialogue in Bahrain, highlighting the pressing challenges in the Middle East, especially specifically from Gaza to Lebanon and Syria. He emphasized India's commitment to supporting the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees and mentioned that India has provided aid to both Gaza and Lebanon. In fact, Dr. Jaishankar, he underscored the significance of regional strategic cooperation.
Right now, I think the issue is of ceasefire, is of humanitarian assistance, issue is of the return of the hostages, the issue is actually of the stopping of deaths. Where we are concerned, we have been contributing to UNRWA. We continue to do so. In fact, in recent years, we have increased our contribution. We have supplied relief material both relief materials, particularly medicines, because we are a prolific producer of medicines. So to Gaza, through Egypt, through the Palestinian Authority, separately to Lebanon, to the government of Lebanon. So we are doing something up there.
Amid the ongoing unrest in Bangladesh and the continuous targeting of the Hindus and the minorities in the country, India's Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri is set to visit Dhaka. Mr. Misri's visit comes at a crucial time as this will be the first high-level diplomatic engagement since Sheikh Hasina fled Bangladesh and the interim government took over. Mr. Misri's day-long visit on Monday aims to address pressing issues, including the recent attacks on Hindus and temples in Bangladesh. In fact, my colleague Ankit spoke to senior journalist Mr. Kamruzzama. Let's listen in to that conversation.
I want to start by asking you and understanding, what is the expectations of Dhaka as far as this visit is concerned? Because this is going to be an important diplomatic channel, a high-level diplomatic channel that both the countries are engaging in after a very long time.
Thank you, Ankit, and thanks NDTV for having me. Actually, the main purpose from Bangladesh side through this top visit of an Indian diplomat will be to clarify before India that the situation here in Bangladesh is very comfortable. Even the frequent reports on torturing on minority Hindu community is being exaggerated by the Indian media. Maybe there is flow of misinformation and disinformation from here. And of course, India as a democratic country, and you are raising concerns on humanitarian ground, and Bangladeshi people and Bangladesh's interim government are also very much concerned on any humanitarian ground, human rights issues. And already the interim government expressed that not only Hindu, Muslims, they never make any difference between Hindu and Muslims based on religion or communal identity. Actually, all are the citizens of this country. So ensuring safety, security of all people is the responsibility of the government. And actually, it seems that there is flow of misinformation. For example, there were dozens of incidents of torturing on Hindu people, grabbing the land properties of Hindu people, vandalism on temples during the regime of Sheikh Hasina in the last 15 years. And even after the January 7 national election this year, and Sheikh Hasina took power again. And there were also incidents of torturing on Hindu people, for example, in Madaripur and many other areas. And there were incidents of vandalism on Hindu temples. But the information was not passed to you at that time. And there were no concerns from Indian side at the time. But
the winter session of the Karnataka Assembly is scheduled to begin on the 9th of December in Belagavi. This session is expected to be significant with 5 key bills lined up for introduction. BJP plans to raise several important issues, including Muda and the Waqf issues, as well as Bellary hospital deaths. The session will be held at the Suvarna Vidhan Sauda in Belagavi, which is the winter capital of Karnataka. The opposition India bloc is experiencing internal conflicts over leadership following recent state poll losses. After Mamata Banerjee expressed her willingness to lead the coalition, it has sparked reactions from various India bloc leaders, with many supporting her bid for leadership. The Samajwadi Party acknowledged her experience and seniority, pledging support and said that if she is chosen to lead. The CPI, in the meanwhile, advised the Congress to introspect. Meanwhile, the Congress party remains committed to playing a leading role in the Grand Alliance despite its poor performance in recent polls.
एक या देशाचे प्रभावी नेते आहेत, त्यांच्याकडची क्षमता आहे. आज देशाच्या पार्लमेंटमध्ये त्यांनी जे लोक निवडून पाठवले ते अतिशय कर्तबगार, जागरूक आणि कष्टाळू आहेत. त्यामुळं त्यांना म्हणायचा अधिकार आहे.
अब देखिए, अब ये तो सब लोगों को मिलजुल के फैसला लेना है और जो सबकी राय बनेगी उसमें हम लोगों को किसी के नाम पे कोई अभी विचार नहीं किया है, लेकिन जब ये निर्णय होगा सब लोग बैठेंगे तभी हो सकता है.
इंडिया गठबंधन ये हमारे देश के संविधान के लिए लड़ रहा है, हमारे लोकतंत्र के लिए लड़ रहा है. दिल्ली में अगर आप देखिए, लोकसभा में हो या हर एक राज्य में हो, हमारा जो गठबंधन है हमारे संविधान और हमारे जनता की आवाज़ के लिए लड़ रहा है. ममता दीदी तो हमारे बहुत करीबी है, उत्कृष्ट नेता भी है. वैसे ही केजरीवाल साहब अभी चुनाव में दिल्ली में उतरेंगे, तो ये सारे लोगों में बातचीत हो और आगे.
गठबंधन में एक बड़े भाई की भूमिका में कांग्रेस पार्टी थी और हमेशा रहेगी. राहुल गांधी हमारे नेता हैं और नेता रहेंगे, और सबके साथ लेके चलना, सबको एक जोड़ के लेके चलना और 10,000 किलोमीटर की यात्रा करना, जिस तरीके से देश को उन्होंने जोड़ने का काम किया, निश्चित तौर से वो हमारे नेता हैं. इंडिया गठबंधन के एक बड़ी भूमिका में, बड़े भाई की भूमिका में वो हमेशा थे, हमेशा रहेंगे.
पुराने नेता हैं, लंबा अनुभव है, संघर्ष के रास्ते से उन्होंने राजनीति में स्थान बनाया है. या लीड करने की कोई फैसला, कोई बातचीत सारे इंडिया गठबंधन के घटक लोगों में होती है तो हमारा तो सहयोग ही रहेगा.
Time for a very short break. More news and updates on the other side. Welcome back. The farmers have called off their Dilli Chalo protest, and the next course of action will be decided after a meeting with the protesting units. Earlier on Sunday, the police used tear gas to disperse the protesting farmers at the Shambhu border between Haryana and Punjab as they resumed their march to Delhi. In the meanwhile, Jitanram Manjhi, he has said that 5 representatives should talk to the government. Meanwhile, Punjab and Haryana police officials held a meeting with the farmer leaders in Rajpura as well to discuss issues related to the farmers' protest.
यहाँ किस तरह की परिस्थिति हमारी मरीजों की है और देखा मौसम भी आज खराब हुआ है, तो सब चीज़ों को ध्यान में रखते हुए कल दोनों फोरम फैसला करके आगे कब जता जाएगा, क्या होगा, कैसा होगा, ये उसके बाद कल आपको शाम को हम जरूर पीसी करेंगे और उसके बीच आगे का निर्णय बता देंगे.
देखिए, आज तो हमारे लेवल पे बातचीत हुई है और मेरे साथ जो है एसपी साहब भी आए और हमने जो किसान यूनियन के जो साथी थे उनकी बातें सुनी और हमारा प्रयास यही रहेगा कि जो है टॉक्स के थ्रू जो भी मुद्दा है इसको रिजॉल्व किया जाए.
आपको लगता है कि केंद्र किसानों के साथ बातचीत का दौर शुरू करेगा?
देखिए, जहाँ पे भी जिस लेवल पे मुद्दा रिजॉल्व होगा उस लेवल पे वो बातें हम पहुंचाने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं और करेंगे.
देखिए, दिल्ली मार्च शुरू किया है वो गलत मार्च किया है. राज्य मंत्री जी ने कहा है कि मार्च करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. 5 गो प्रतिनिधि आवे, भारत सरकार खुला है, बात करने को तैयार है, उनकी हर समस्याओं को दूर करने को तैयार है. वैसी परिस्थिति में लोग मार्च का एक ढोंग रच रहे हैं, ये पॉलिटिक्स कर रहे हैं. ये पॉलिटिक्स नहीं करना चाहिए.
ये प्रजातंत्र है, प्रजातंत्र में अपनी बात कहने का सबको अधिकार है. किसी को इस तरह रोकना जो है वो अप्रजातांत्रिक है. हाँ, कोई कानून हाथ में लेते हों. पहले इन्होंने कहा कि भाई ट्रैक्टर पे मत जाओ, किसानों ने कहा ठीक ट्रैक्टर पे जाएंगे, हम पैदल जाएंगे. तो अपनी बात कहने का जो है उनसे बात करके सरकार को तुरंत समाधान करना चाहिए उनका. और हरियाणा सरकार का तो रवैया ऐसा ही है. जब किसान को क्या नाम बिजाई में खाद की जरूरत होती है तो डीएपी नहीं होता. जब सिंचाई करनी पड़ती है, जब यूरिया नहीं होता, जब फसल तैयार हो जाती है तो उसको बाजार में एमएसपी नहीं मिलती। तो ये है, किसान की समस्याएं हैं।
Punjab has witnessed a significant drugs bust, with authorities seizing a substantial quantity of narcotics from border areas. In a joint operation, the Border Security Force and Punjab Police recovered 1 kilogram of heroin from Taran and Gurdaspur districts. This seizure is part of the ongoing efforts to combat drugs smuggling in the region. According to the reports, the consignment was airdropped by Pakistan-based smugglers using a drone. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to inaugurate the Rising Rajasthan Global Investment Summit on the 9th of December in Jaipur. This three-day summit, scheduled from December 9 to 11, aims to showcase Rajasthan's immense potential for growth and attract investments from around the globe.
Rajasthan is ready for investment. It's the biggest sales pitch by the Rajasthan government, a big-ticket investment summit.
हम निवेशकों के लिए एक समृद्ध और परिपक्व मंच तैयार कर पाए हैं। हमने सरकार के कार्यकाल के प्रथम वर्ष में भी इस समिट का आयोजन इसलिए किया है ताकि प्राप्त निवेश प्रस्तावों को धरातल पर उतारने के लिए हम सभी आवश्यक कदम ठीक ढंग से उठा सकें। देश के यशस्वी प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के विजन विकसित भारत, इसमें विकसित राजस्थान की कल्पना करते हुए हम विकसित भारत की कल्पना के आधार पर हमारे देश को आगे बढ़ाने का काम करें।
A galaxy of business leaders are expected to attend. And some of the key focus areas are sectors the state is already strong in: renewable energy, mines and minerals, and tourism.
मोदी जी लक्ष्य रख रहे हैं तीसरी सबसे शक्तिशाली अर्थव्यवस्था बनने का। उसमें राजस्थान क्या रोल प्ले करेगा ये हमें तय करना है और उसके ऊपर हर दिन हमें काम करना है। इसी कारण से सबसे पहले ही साल हमने राइजिंग राजस्थान करा कि अब 4 साल जो समझौते हुए हैं उसको धरातल पे हम तुरंत लेकर आए। ये हमारा संकल्प है कि राजस्थान के अंदर इकोनॉमिक वाइब्रेंसी, एक आर्थिक माहौल ऐसा बने कि हर हाथ पे के पास कोई ना कोई काम।
While the thrust area may be the energy sector, it's clear that Rajasthan also wants to explore other possibilities, like medical tourism, in what is definitely the government's mega show. It's the Rajasthan government's big-ticket investment summit, and for the first time, the government is holding this summit within a year of assuming office. There will be 32 countries participating, of which 17 will be partner countries. Countries like South Korea and Japan, already key investors. There will also be 5,000 delegates and, of course, the top industrialists of the country. The aim is to make Rajasthan a $350 billion economy in the next 5 years. In Jaipur, Harsha Kumari Singh, NDTV.
And President-elect Donald Trump has said that he is looking to issue pardons to his supporters involved in the attacks on the U.S. Capitol on January 6. Trump claims he will bring legal relief to the Jan 6 rioters on his first day in office. Trump, in fact, also stated that he will not weaponize the Justice Department against his political opponents. However, he did assert that some members of the House committee that investigated the January 6th events should go to jail, as he mentioned, accusing them of lying and destroying over a year of testimony. And finally, the first snowfall of the season has arrived in several hill stations across India, including Jammu and Kashmir's Gulmarg. Weather forecasts predict harsh weather conditions in Lahore Spiti, while tourists and residents in Uttarakhand, as well as Himachal Pradesh and other areas, are welcoming the snowfall with enthusiasm. Some of the popular hill stations experiencing snowfall include Nainital, Almora and Munsiari. Other popular hill stations like Manali, Gulmarg and Oli are also experiencing snowfall, offering opportunities for skiing, snowboarding and other winter activities. That's all we have for you. Keep watching NDTV.